Very good morning to you. Welcome to my thought for the day. Today I'm going back to the resurrection stories because we are only a week away from the most wonderful celebration of the resurrection of Jesus, and focusing really on what the Bible tells us about Peter. Now we know, and I'm not going into it in great detail because I'm sure that you will have read it and you know it. The denial of Jesus by Peter. That awful moment when he 3 times said he didn't know Jesus. He must have felt so awful after that. It's recorded actually in all 4 Gospels, his denial of Jesus. And it's important, I think, to realize just what that did to him. I mean, Judas had betrayed Jesus, and his immediate response when he realized what he'd done and that Jesus actually wasn't going to respond and stand up for himself and be pushed into making a declaration of who he was. He submitted to being arrested, and I think Judas realized that Jesus wasn't going to declare himself as king and stand up and command the angels to come and so on. He wasn't going to do it. And he went out and hanged himself. But what Peter did is surprising, really, is that Peter stayed with the company of the followers of Jesus, even after what he'd done. And there's no doubt, because it's recorded in all 4 Gospels, that he was upfront about what he'd done. John was there, the evidence is there that John was the one, I think it's in John's Gospel, John was the one who got Peter close to the trial of Jesus, within the outer courtyard of the high priest's residence. And I think he told everybody. I think he admitted what he'd done. He wept bitterly. We know he went out and wept bitterly. But he didn't hide himself away, because on the day of the resurrection, when Jesus appeared to Mary Magdalene, that's in John 20, verse 1, when she went to the tomb on the day of resurrection, she ran and went to Simon Peter and the other disciple whom Jesus loved, that is John, and said to them, they've taken him out of the tomb and we don't know where they've laid him. And Peter came with the other disciple and they went inside the tomb and they saw the evidence of the resurrection, although they didn't understand or believe to begin with. It was so incredible. But Peter, she didn't have to search around to find Peter. Peter was there with John and with the others. 3 days after Jesus had died. And that's very telling. I'm coming back to that in a moment. But it's very interesting, the record of Mark about the resurrection. When Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, and Salome came to the tomb, they came early, and they saw this young man on the right side of the tomb. And he said to them, "Do not be amazed. You seek Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He's not here. He's risen. See the place where they laid him. Go and tell his disciples and Peter that he's going before you to Galilee, where you shall see him." So, and there's another place where it says that I think that's in Luke, when the two came back from the road to Emmaus, they record the disciples saying, "The Lord has appeared to us and Peter." Jesus made sure that Peter knew that he was alive, that he was spoken to. He was spoken about individually. He was the one who denied Jesus. All right, the rest of them had all fled and run for their lives. But Peter had denied him. And Jesus made sure, when his message was sent, that Peter was told that he was alive from the dead. And that's wonderful, the personal attention of Jesus to Peter. And then we come to the incident on the shore a week later. I think it's a week later, or it doesn't say exactly how long it was. But then when they go fishing in John 21, they go fishing and Peter is with them and Thomas is with them, which is interesting because Thomas was the one who had needed to see Jesus and had missed his first appearance to the group. And then just as Peter had been asked in front of lots of people whether he knew Jesus, and he denied him 3 times, so Peter is asked by Jesus in front of this group of his peers whether he loved him. And Peter is quite embarrassed, I think, the way it reads. It's quite hard for him to answer this challenge. But Jesus gives him the opportunity of restoration, complete restoration. 3 times he's asked if he loves him. And 3 times Peter says, "You know that I love you, Lord." I know there's been a lot of preaching about it, and a lot of preaching about the different words for love that are used, but that's not the point I'm focusing on today. It may be what the Lord speaks to you about. But at the end of this little passage in John 21, after this, Jesus said to him, "Follow me." And that's what Jesus said to Peter right at the beginning. He found him on the shore. You remember when he was a fisherman? He found him on the seashore with his family working on the nets. And Jesus simply said to him, "Follow me, and I'll make you a fisher of men." And Jesus took him right back to the beginning and gave him a new start. Follow me. Restored him completely to the calling that he had for him. And this is just so wonderful. So the whole sequence of events says to me, whatever we do, whatever happens to you, whatever failure you may have, and this was an enormous failure for Peter. I just can't imagine how Peter felt. And we've all thought about Peter at length and what it felt like. How very difficult it was. But whatever happens to you, whatever challenges you face, whatever failure that you have, however terrible, and you may say, "But I've been following the Lord for years, and then suddenly I did this or did that." Peter could have said that. "I've been here with him since the beginning, and I denied him. I can't believe I did it. I feel so guilty. I feel so awful about it." Do you know, it's amazing to me that Peter, even though he knew what he'd done, and he told the other disciples, they all knew about it, he was with them when the news of the resurrection came. He did not hide away. When terrible things happen to us, or when we've done terrible things, the tendency in the human heart is to hide, is to lick your wounds, curl up in a fetal position and tell everyone to go away. But that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to be among the believers, be with those who are following Jesus, and be restored. Go straight to the Lord as soon as you realize what you've done. Go straight to him, and his grace is sufficient for you, and his restoration will be your portion. And the other thing that's amazing is that Peter does not talk about denying Jesus in his 2 letters that we have. He does talk about the transfiguration and some of the other things that he experienced with Jesus, but he's not living with guilt. He's been forgiven, and he knows he's been forgiven, and he's forgiven himself because he doesn't go back over it. There's a lot to learn from Peter. God bless you. Have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.